homie.
What's up, strongest men, women, and children from blocks all around the world? I am my block's strongest man, and today we're here to talk about the Eddie Hall versus Hafthor Bjornsson weigh-in. And yes, it is time for the weigh-in. It happened yesterday, and a little bit of fireworks there, of course, expected after what we've seen in the previous interactions between the two leading up to this. So we were really eager to see what would happen during the weigh-in. Would Eddie Hall, in fact, come in heavier than Hafthor Bjornsson, who is 6 1/4 inches taller than him? Let's wait and find out. So shout out again to IFL TV, who's providing a lot of the footage here that we can all comment on and give our reactions to. So IFL TV, great job putting out this incredible content. So what happened? Well, I did see on, I don't know if it was IFL TV or one of the other YouTube channels, some discussion between Eddie Hall and Don Idris going on outside, kind of after the press conference, but before the weigh-in, about how feasible it would be for them to do sort of a head-to-head face-off after the weigh-in, given what had just happened at the press conference. And Eddie Hall was all for it. Don Idris kind of said, you know, it's not like you have to make weight or anything, like you're both gigantic and there's no weight limit. And Eddie said, well, it's really the right thing to do. We should. So I don't think he means like it's the right thing to make weight, but I think it's the right thing to know exactly what each guy weighs is what I think he was getting at. And you could see that when he followed through, because when he actually made his way back into the building for the weigh-in, Eddie Hall stripped down to his underwear and, you know, took off his shirt and whatnot. He was still in shoes for some reason. So this is a thing strongmen do a lot. Whenever Brian Shaw is famous for this, like, I weigh this much and he's wearing all his clothes, his shoes, like, Brian Shaw's a big dude. He probably has like 10, 12 pounds worth of clothes and shoes on. I mean, it makes a difference, right? But yeah, strongmen typically do that for some reason. They don't get as light as they possibly can, although he was down to his underwear and had like rubber ducky underwear, which is really funny, something you might see Luke Stoltman do from time to time as well. So Eddie Hall does the weigh-in, 142.2 kilograms, the official weight for Eddie Hall and his shoes. So actually probably a little bit lighter than that as well. So if you do the math, that comes out to about 313 pounds for Eddie Hall at just a shade under 6'3". I've heard him say 6'2 3/4" on occasion. So 313 pounds for Eddie Hall. And he does a couple of poses. They ask him to do a few more poses. He refuses because he doesn't want to expose himself, he says. So he sort of walks off. And on some of the other videos of this I've seen where it looks like it doesn't cut away very much. There was maybe a minute and 20 seconds, a minute and a half by the time Hafthor got there for weighing in. So, you know, not an excessive amount of time at all. Thor comes in with his team. He weighs in. He takes his shirt off. He is barefoot, but wearing a chunky gold watch. So there you go, adding a little bit more weight there. Hafthor Bjornsson's weight is 152 kilograms. So after all the back and forth of him calling Eddie a fat pig and Eddie calling him the diseased names he called him and whatnot, it turns out Thor is heavier after all, as he should be for being the taller man. He's not much heavier, but a little bit. So 152 kilograms would equate to about 334.5 pounds, 335 pounds. So Hafthor with about a 21.5 pound weight advantage over Eddie Hall and about a 6 1/4 inch height advantage. Funny enough, we keep hearing that their reach is the same. We've heard that their reach is 80 inches for both of them, which obviously is both the wingspan, both arms, right? Not just one arm. But I don't know. Take a look at this still image here. And again, I'm not going to show video from other people's YouTube channels. You should go to their channels and watch and give them all the credit and the likes and the watch time. So you should go do that to IFL TV. But again, take a look at this photo. Does the one arm reach look the same to you? Maybe, like, Eddie's arm is hanging a little lower, but he's shorter. So I don't know. I thought that would be impossible, but maybe. You know what I think it is, too? Eddie's wider than Thor. Eddie's midsection is definitely wider. His oblique muscles are larger and wider. Maybe even his bone structure is wider than Thor's. And that's why some people, I think, are under the impression, like, he's out of shape or whatnot. I mean, he looks fairly... Neither of these guys are as cut as a bodybuilder. Let's get that out of the question right now, but I'll show you a few different images as we go along here where you see, like, Eddie has visible abs, his legs are visibly cut, like he's not fat, as far as I can tell, not compared to the average human being anyway. So yeah, it's just he's wider than Thor is, so maybe that the chest width adds to the wingspan, and that's how you get the 80 being equal with the 2. You know, then again, you're not fighting like this, so not sure how much a wingspan actually matters, but we'll see how it plays out in the ring. So that being said, again, Eddie Hall, 142.2 kilograms official weight. Thor Bjornsson, 152 kilograms. So that weight may fluctuate by Saturday night into Sunday morning in Dubai when they do fight, but that's what it was at the official weigh-in. I will say, a little bit strange that they weighed in 2 days before. So they weighed in on the 17th, and the fight is on the 19th. Typically, a weigh-in would be the night before, something along those lines. So interesting that they gave them 2 more days after the weigh-in. But then again, it's not like these guys are cutting weight and having to rehydrate or anything like that. So not so sure how much that argument matters anyway. So then, as you can see in this image, they then each stand behind their respective rectangular, looks like a rectangular standard folding table, with maybe enough space in between the 2 tables for maybe another table. So probably, I don't know, 9 feet apart altogether, something along those lines. And they had mentioned earlier that they were going to separate them by a respectable distance to just keep from anything bad happening here. So they stand there for a few seconds, and then somebody shouts out, "Kiss, kiss." I don't know what that's all about. So Eddie does, not blowing a kiss, but kind of a kissy motion. And then a few seconds later, someone says, "Okay, that's it. We're ending." And Eddie sort of knocks over the table, knees the table over, almost like you would knee over a tire flip, right? So he knees over the table, turns, and marches out. And then it seemed like Thor kind of waited till Eddie was far enough away, and then he chuckles and says, "Tough guy." So, and that's how the weigh-in ended, with Eddie being very stern and Thor being a little bit jokey and laughy. And again, Thor Bjornsson, 152 kilograms official weight, and Eddie Hall, 142.2 kilograms official weight. So we'll see how that translates into performance in the ring, and maybe I'll put out another video telling you about who I think will win and why, and whether that has changed in the last 1.5 to 2 years since I originally made that prediction. Thanks again for joining me on My Block's Strongest Man, and of course, until next time, as always, ciao, homie.